Hello, and welcome to Sports by Compian. My name is Steven. We're joined here by Corey Compian. How are you today,
That's me.
kind sir?
I am doing fantastic. It is Friday, which is debatably the best day of the week. And it is, well, technically, this is the best time of the best day of the week because it's Friday afternoon/evening, meaning there is the most amount of time before we'll have to go back to work.
True. It is a beautiful time of day, beautiful time of the week. Lots of hopes and dreams for the coming days. It's really nice times out here. But here by Sports by Compian, we want to just recap the NHL playoffs a little bit. Luckily, we also saw some Super Rugby. They're about headed to their playoffs as well. So we're going to do a little bit of recapping on that. Chris didn't join us because he's dead. Corey actually had him assassinated. And
Oh no, I handled it myself. I hired an assassin, but his number was too high, and so now I had to go do the work myself. And then the assassin knows I tried to kill Chris, so I got to go take out the assassin now too.
Right.
I am looking for estimates on taking out the assassin because I'm kind of lazy. So if someone wants to take out the assassin for me, send me a number.
And you know that's a real man looking for a quote right there. If you were an assassin and needed work, reach out to Corey, and we can maybe get you some work here.
You can reach me at 123 not a real assassin at yahoo.com.
That sounds like a real email too. That sounds like a real email.
Somebody email that. Find out who's on the other end. Who knows?
I wanted to go ahead and recap the first round of the NHL playoffs. So obviously we had the Colorado Avalanche absolutely maul the poor little Tennessee Predators. Tough times for them. St. Louis takes care of the Minnesota Wild in the first round. They move on to take on the Colorado Avalanche. So that's number one going against number three in that bracket. You got Calgary beat Dallas, which was kind of a sad one for me. This was this past weekend had the most Game 7s in pretty much all of history, dude. Isn't that wild? I don't know about
Crazy.
So pretty much between basketball and all the
I've been hearing about it between baseball, hockey, and basketball.
Baseball's still in their normal season, but yeah, it was between hockey and basketball. It was a shitload of Game 7s. But yeah, ultimately Calgary took out Dallas, which, dude, I wrote this down. It was something like 46 Calgary shots to Dallas's 22. So the Dallas goalie is the only one who showed up there and made it a close game. As my friend Taylor put it, he's like, the Dallas goalie is the only one who decided to come today. And I watched some of the highlights. Did seem like it. The dude really tried his fucking damnedest to keep Dallas in that game, but they could just, I guess, not get anything going on offense. And crazy thing about hockey, man, they're always just on one side or the other, just harassing the poor little goalie. He's just getting up and down. He's batting balls and shit and catching it. He's like, what the fuck, dude?
My man just out there doing squats all day.
Yeah.
How many squats did you do today? 7,000. I played a game. I did 7,000 squats.
My buddy used to be a goalie, and he told me you gotta be crazy amounts of cardio to deal with that because it makes sense. I mean, also the flexibility of these dudes, they just lay their legs. I'm like, are you not I don't know, dead, dude? What's going on here?
That looks really bad for your knees. I don't think my knee would be happy about that even once.
Super uncomfortable poses and weird stuff to block shots, and you're blocking a hard puck flying at you. It's a pretty crazy sport altogether.
Well, watching it last time, what I was thinking about is they're getting their hands right near the skates, and those skates are not dull. Yeah. I guess you got to really just trust your fucking gloves to not get your fingers chopped off, because that does not seem like a safe place. I would not be ooh, sharp objects, let me get my fingers involved.
It's wild. And in case you guys are wondering, we're not showing any clips today because we did kind of get flagged on the last one because apparently we can't be showing NHL clips. We actually
the more you know
with our lawyer, Blondie, but it turns out, what was it you said, Corey? She's a dog or something like that?
Alright, so here's the thing with Blondie, is she's really old, and she's deaf, and she's a little blind. It's on her radar. I took her the paperwork, I put it down next to her, and I was like, Blondie, can you handle this for me? And then she looked at me, she looked real nervous, she got up, wandered around for a while, and laid back down. So I took that as Blondie's on it, so we'll see in an episode or two.
Okay, cool. Alright, well, I was a little worried there, but she did sort of, look at the paperwork.
It's on her radar, she knows it's there.
She sucked on it, maybe. Either way,
Yeah.
it's in her area. Cool. Love to hear it.
Right.
Love to hear it. And maybe we shouldn't take our legal advice from her anymore. I don't know how.
Listen, it hasn't failed me yet. I haven't needed legal advice up till this point, but it hasn't failed me yet. So
I don't know if that's how that works.
no, look, it's a 0% failure rate. It's a 0% success rate, but I'm just saying 0% failure rate so far.
I mean, 0% failure rate's pretty great. That's hard to
That's
hate on.
pretty good, dude.
Yeah. No, those are some good ratios.
Like, look, let me put it this way, Steve. I have missed 0% of my shots in the NBA. 0%.
What?
0% of my shots in the NBA I've missed.
You're a 100% shooter in the NBA?
I didn't say I was a 100% shooter. I said I'm a 0% miss.
Corey, these are stats that are technically true. I will let you have that one. It is a good one for you to have. Moving on here. So, yeah, Dallas couldn't make it happen against Calgary, but we did have Tampa Bay, my boys, go ahead and rally against Toronto. And this was interesting because Toronto was 3-2 going into Toronto. So if they could have just won at home, they take the series 4-2. But Tampa just hangs on, man. And it was a crazy game because Tampa got their goals. They got a couple shots, but Toronto was pressuring the whole game. And I think they actually held the puck for most of the game, but just could not get it done and couldn't score. And Dallas hangs on to win there in Toronto. It was pretty crazy. I think Toronto definitely looked like the better team, but they just could not get past Tampa's defense. So Tampa takes it back to, I think it was still in Toronto for Game 7. I'm not actually sure. But once again, a 2-1, real close game, and Toronto just couldn't get over the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, Corey. Tampa Bay Lightning move on to the next round, which they're actually now up 2-0 against the Florida Panthers. These Florida Panthers got past the Washington Capitals, I believe, also in a Game 7. And they have run into the back-to-back champions, and they are now down 2-0. So it's the battle of Florida down there. The Supreme Florida team will come out, Corey. Let me tell you. It won't be...
That's weak, though. These Panthers, they're out here ooh, we're all of Florida. Ooh, pick a place, man. Florida's pretty big. You can't just claim the whole place. Where are they're Tampa, right? Tampa Lightning?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Why they gotta be we're all of Tampa or we're all of Florida? Be Miami or be I don't know, Key West. Be something else, bro. You can't claim the entire state.
Real weird stuff, Corey. That's a great point.
I'm mad about it, Steve. I am mad about it.
Corey, you should be mad about it. And
I'm mad about it.
I'm glad you brought this up, and it angers me as well. Either way, Tampa Bay's about to show them who the real,
the real power in the South. The South weird foot thing is.
Perfect. That's great. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say. The Oilers also got past the LA Kings. I'm not going to say this cost me money, Corey, but it cost me probably about 50 cents or so,
Oh, 50 cents!
It's a brutal loss because I bet on these LA Kings to rally in Game 7, get past the Edmonton Oilers. I didn't even know where these guys were from for most of the first round. I was like,
Edmonton is in Canada, right?
Edmonton is in Canada, correct. Which means that they are now playing Calgary. So it's the Battle of Canada going on up there in the north. That series is tied 1-1. I think so. Yeah. Dude, the first game, 15 goals scored. Calgary goes up 5-1. But Edmonton actually battled back, and it was tied 6-6 at one point. But Calgary got ahead, got a couple more, 8-6, and Edmonton ended up emptying the net to come out and try to, do their best they could to top the game. Boom. What's it called? Calgary gets another one. 9-6 that game ended. That's why this is better than soccer, dude. They're just constantly scoring.
Just contact, they score.
They're just constantly just shooting at this fucking goalie. He's just no, come on, no, stop it. They're back. No, here they are again. It's just all day, incessant attacking. I'm all about it, dude. Plus, people just.
I'm here for it, man.
But yeah, that game was crazy. They are now 1-1 that series. What were we gonna say?
So the two goalies, I guess, just both went out and got hammered the night before. That's why they allowed 15 goals.
Hard to say, dude. They did. The Edmonton did change out their goalie after 3 or 4 shots. They're all right, bud, we're gonna put in this backup, and the backup was getting his ass kicked. Whatever, dude, just stay in there.
It's fine, man. Whatever, just do what you can.
Just try your best, bro. We're getting our ass kicked. I don't know what to tell you. But what's it called? So yeah, that's pretty much how that series is going. Canada hockey going on up there. Corey, get excited. The fourth
Very
series
exciting stuff
that we're not talking about is, let's pull that.
I had a question though.
Oh yeah.
So in hockey, they can go up until a game 7, right? And I imagine this is some kind of a playoff system where there's like, brackets breaking down, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do they allow like a 1 week period? Like, because there has to be if there is a game 7.
No, these dudes are like going right on top of this shit, dude. It's wild. And like,
But what if one team or two teams go seven games, and the other guys they're like 3 and out? Do those 3 and out guys like sit on their hands for 4 days?
It's a good time.
Or is it
Colorado Avalanche? They won 4-0 on their series on the Predators, and they've just been chilling while everyone else was like fighting tooth and nail through Game 7. Like that's a good way to be, man.
So they do have to allow a 1 week period.
Well, they just chill. They just chill till the other teams wrap up.
But all right, so let's say there's 4 different games going on.
Yeah.
All 4 of those games go 4 and out. Are they starting like the very next day?
Yeah.
Like,
well, not the very next day, but they start pretty much immediately. Yeah. There's no like delay just for delay's sake.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. No, hockey just keeps it moving. It's pretty crazy, and there's like so many
cool,
man.
Teams,
man. These guys are
just out there playing.
I mean, they got a shitload of like teams, and there's constant changing going on. But goddamn, bro, you're playing like 7 fucking games, and like Tampa Bay Lightning, right? So these guys have been back-to-back champions. Do you think about how many playoffs games that is, combined with all the regular season over the last 2 years, and now they're like battling it out with Toronto 7-0. Like it's just like shit, dude. That's a lot of fucking hockey to be playing over the last 2-3 years, But anyway, the last one was the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers, because the New York Rangers got past Pat McAfee's Pens, the Pittsburgh Pens, dude, and that is so disappointing for the Pittsburgh Pens. They were up 3-1 on New York Rangers, dude, and they just came battling back the Rangers and ended up taking that series 4-3. They were they were also one of the game 7s that took place, and Pittsburgh Pens just couldn't hang. I think their goalie kind of had a rough go of it, but I don't really have too much input on this stuff. It's hard for me to know what the hell's going on when I'm watching a lot of stuff.
So when you say Pat McAfee's Pittsburgh Pens,
yeah,
I remember hearing about him talking about buying them. Is he actually? Or no, he was talking about buying the Pirates. Never mind.
Yeah, I was just saying.
He's just a fan, right? They're not just his team.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember watching some episode where he was talking about buying it. I think it's a baseball team, though. I think he was trying to buy the Pirates.
Yeah, well, because he thinks they're trash and he wants to change them up. So.
Well, they were super cheap.
Well, I bet they are. I mean,
yeah,
well,
I saw some crazy stat.
Multi-millions of dollars, but yeah, or billions even, but yeah.
Dude, I think baseball's they don't really have a salary cap like in football. I saw some craziness, like there was a pitcher that was making as much as the entire roster of the Pirates combined. I was like, holy shit, dude. How is this a sport?
So wild, man.
Right?
How do you
One dude
making the same amount as all those guys. Crazy. Corey, I think now's a good time to go to one of our non-sponsor sponsors. Would you like to go first, sir? Who do you have for us today?
Well, I think it's only fair that I demonstrate this fabulous beer I've been installing into my face.
Right.
This is a Pabst Blue Ribbon, which, as we all know, is a award-winning beer. It has a blue ribbon because it was the best beer, and I imagine this dude just brewed this beer, went to some random festival, and they're like, your beer won, and he was like, cool, I'm going to advertise this as the festival-winning beer, and then he made a company out of it, and now he's probably a millionaire. So good for that dude, whoever he may or may not have been.
Well played by that guy, God bless him out there making his move and it paying off for him.
I'd also like to just give a little bit of advice for beer can drinkers in the future. There's this fancy little lip down here. Just hook your pinky on that, More drink stability. If you're up here, your drink's gonna slip. Little drink stability right there. Just a tip, Take it from a seasoned alcoholic.
For sure. Definitely a nice little tidbit for the children. So moving on to the Hurricanes, they got there to this series with the Rangers by beating the Bruins, also in the Game 7. So they just beat the Bruins. They got they've tied up the series now with the Rangers. It's a 1-1 series over there. Of the 4 series going on, I would say I don't really know much about hockey, but those two don't seem like they're that good. I don't know. I think a lot of the New York teams people want to see the Rangers do well. So what do I fucking know? Probably shouldn't even comment on that.
How far into the playoffs are they? Like, is this the early rounds?
This is the second round now. So they're
okay. So
kind
of like the dudes that make it into the playoffs in football, where it's like, they're not going to win the Super Bowl, but it's like, yeah, we made it to the playoffs, and they get like won and outed kind of thing.
Not well, I mean, because they already got past the first round, so not quite won and outed, but yeah, it's sort of like divisional round football going on right now.
I got you.
Yeah, so that's pretty much a wrap on the NHL stuff. I did want to talk briefly about the the New Jersey Generals.
New Jersey Generals!
New Jersey Generals! They took on the dangerous New Orleans Breakers, Corey.
No way.
But they handled them, dude. This New Jersey
Let's
team
go.
came to play, man. They had a lot of really good defense. They were able to move the ball. Their quarterback, Jermaine Johnson, ran the ball pretty well. I don't know if it was Jermaine Johnson, actually. No, it's definitely not. I don't know why I just said that name, but it's not the guy. Either way, this quarterback had a decent game, carrying the ball, got some good runs, some really nice catches, actually. I think you see some pretty decent level of talent at this league, the USFL. I don't think it should be looked down upon. It looks pretty cool. I mean, these guys are all pretty young, too. Like, they're all, 22, 24, 25. So, they're all looking for that second shot at the NFL. I hope they get it. They're out there hustling, and some of them are pretty good players. But, yeah, so New Jersey handled the New Orleans Breakers, so that should be interesting because the Breakers are definitely looked at as almost like one of the second best team. They've now dropped to the Stallions and now to the New Jersey Generals, so they're reeling a little bit. Jersey's still staying on top of the Northern Conference, whereas the Stallions are still maintaining their dominance down there in the South with an undefeated record.
So 8 teams, 2 divisions.
I don't know if they have quite 8 teams. I think it's more I don't actually know. We can look it up and get back to you, fine folks of YouTubes.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I really should start following their life on Instagram, because I do follow the CFL, or no, the fan control football. What are they? The FCF. FCF. I follow FCF on Instagram, so I got mad stats on them. Like, they had Chad Ochocinco involved there. Apparently, they're going to get Michael Vick is going to go play a game, like the season closer. They're doing some wild shit. They have a bunch of Austin Eckler is a part owner of one of the teams, so you have NFL involvement just because the NFL players are interested,
For sure. So it's yeah, we could probably find some clips and throw that up here for next time. That'd be cool.
Dude, I was thinking we could even watch a game and record that.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Could be fun. We'll watch along. See if we
a little watching party.
Yeah, definitely. We're a little rushed today because I actually got to run out of here. But that's pretty much the USFL's good times. The XFL, I think they're starting this weekend. Is going to finally be their start.
I believe so.
Yeah, and then I guess we'll be covering that as well because honestly, we are sort of a football podcast. That's the sport I know. I'm learning rugby. Obviously I play it. Almost scored a first try, Corey. Some fucking guy came out of fucking nowhere and just swatted the ball before I could touch it down.
Give us the rundown, Steven. Give us the rundown. How did the play start? How did it end?
Well, it was a scrum, so I didn't even hear the call, but apparently it was a whiskey, which means our 8-man takes it right out of the scrum and just runs, and he's a bad motherfucker, our skip. So he was just plowing through some motherfuckers, and I was taking a little back, so I was a little behind the play, but Taylor was right there hot on his tail, so when Skip got wrapped up, he passed it off to Taylor, but there was just so many woodsmen in the area that one of them just snatched up Taylor. But I was right on Taylor's ass, called for the ball. Taylor sees me. He was getting tackled, so I won't fault him. But, man, he fucking pelted this ball at me. I managed to catch it, though. And I'm, running. I think I outrun one dude. I'm running up this other guy. I can tell we're both so tired. Because it was just such a fucking hot day. And this is towards the end of the game. Oh my god, dude. And I'm going one way, I see him going the other way, so I got cut back to go the other. Slowest cut move in all of history. But, later on, the George, who may or may not come onto this podcast at some point, is just yeah, so I saw you try to cut, but mostly that was just you stopping and walking the other way. I was like, dude, shut up. It worked, all right?
Did you give him like a helping hand, like the stop and helping hand?
Exactly, stop, helping hand, and kept it moving. And like he was just too tired to really stop his body enough and like get across and like help me. I don't know if he continued or if I ran through him, but there was somebody on my shoulder, on my right left hand, that was like pushing away, and I had the ball on my right, and I was like right up on the try zone. But what I should have done is just dove right then and there and touched it down. And instead, I was going to try to run and try to slide and like have a touchdown, right there. But all this time of me fucking around with this other dude and him like trying to mug me, this fucking fast little motherfucker out of fucking nowhere came running out and just slapped the ball out of my grip, which is on me too. I was about to touch it down, so I had it a little bit loosey-goosey, but I should have fucking held on to that shit. And yeah, it was called knocked forward. Which, dude, if I would have scored that, we might have had a chance to win that game because we were like 17 guys traveling. It was tough. It was fucking hot as shit. And people, of course, are like, oh, I'm injured. I can't play. Anyway.
I will say, like, that makes sense to me, the wanting to, like, slide on your ass, because we both played baseball. Yeah. So, from a young age, we adjusted to the concept of, like, all right, I'm going to throw my body on the floor, but I'm going to land on my ass. It's not going to hurt. Like, I've never dove forward. I'll slide on my ass all day, no problem. Rugby, but slide on my chest, never done it, never laid out for a catch, nothing like that. Because my mind's like, what? No, there'll be no protection. We'll just faceplant. We can't do that.
Which is stupid. I gotta get past that, because if I would have done that, I would have scored. So it's like...
Dude, I'm 27. That's not happening now. My body is comfortable with what my body's comfortable with.
It's what you do in rugby, though. You get it down. So in those situations, like, it's better to just jump and get it down somehow. Similar to like diving for a touchdown. Like if you're that close to the goal line, you're going to do whatever you can to make sure that's a touchdown or a score.
The closest I've come to that is like somebody holding my waist and me stretching the ball. Exactly. That's really the only thing I've done that's similar to that. But as far as like just jumping, like how you see them do in I won't even say the NFL, because you see it in these other leagues as well. I should say just like what real athletic football players do. I've never done that. Probably never will.
Well, never say never, Corey. You never know. But yeah, that was the recap of me almost scoring, but not quite. Tough times for the Rockford Ravens. We didn't quite pull it out. But that's because we didn't travel well. And now we have a home game, and motherfuckers haven't been showing up to practice, so we'll see how we fucking rally here, dude, because people need to fucking get it together. Like, what are we doing? This is how we respond to defeat? We don't show up to practice. We don't show up to the next game like a little baby back bitches. Sad times out here.
I will say, brief update on Costa Rica football. Coming up, I believe this Sunday, is the final between the Toros and the Leones. Leones! They actually knocked out my team, which the team I actively play for. I was unfortunately not in the country during the time of this playoff game. Wouldn't have made a difference. We lost, I want to say, like 46-6, something like that. Not a super close game. We didn't really expect to beat them, or at least I didn't expect us to beat them. They're playing against the Toros, who are heavily favored. The Toros also beat the Knights for their championship berth. They beat them also like 46-6, something along those lines. It was very, there's two teams in the country that are good, and then there's the rest of us who, we brawl it out.
So it hasn't changed at all since I was playing there about, what?
Hasn't changed.
10 years ago or so now? Well, hey, you're cutting out there. Or am I cutting out? Say something?
I believe I need to plug this in.
Alright, cool, we're good.
Okay, fantastic.
Anyway, so yeah, that's Costa Rican football, a little bit of Illinois rugby. To quickly wrap up, there was also some Super Rugby taking place out there in the world, somewhere in the Pacific.
Good for them.
I think this particular game was in Melbourne. And I was watching it as I was doing some stretching, and then I had to run off, so we didn't quite see the whole game, but I did see like the first 28 minutes, which pretty much told the whole story of the game. So, the Rebels versus the Blues. Blues are number one in the division. They're fucking definitely going to be in the playoffs. It cuts down to basically 8 teams. So there's 14 teams, something like 15 teams maybe, I don't know, in Super Rugby. Cuts down to 8, and it goes from there, right? So, right now, the Blues are number one, and they're just killing it. But they're going against this Rebels team that just comes out firing. Like, they just came out, like, super fast. They got a quick mistake on a kick, which leads to the Rebels getting the ball inside the 20, quick ball, they get a quick score, up 7-0, and the Blues like, holy shit. And then, like, they have a kickoff Rebels go ahead and intercept a pass, like just pick it off right there at the 5, pick 6, takes it back. They're up 14-0, 7 minutes into the game. It's like, holy shit, dude, these Rebels came to play against the best team. You better. But it just came apart on them after that, man. Like, the better teams clearly showed up. The Blues calmed down, ran their systems, started just quick balls, and, like, the way their forwards were clearing rucks and just running through these people, dude. The Rebels had a tough time tackling. Like, you got people like Rico Hawani and stuff sitting out there at outside center for the Blues. So it's like, it's experienced rugby players who are fast and are going to break some fucking tackles. And these poor Rebel boys, they struggled out there to making these tackles because it was just a fierce Blues offense. You can see why these guys are number 1 in the league. And honestly, the Rebels, I think, are sitting outside of the playoffs right now. So they need to get their shit together. But yeah, that's pretty much the tale of the take there, Corey, out there in Super Rugby. They will be in their playoffs by next week. They're in round 14 right now. That was about round 12. I didn't finish this game, but I looked up the final. It was something like 78-28 or something, dude. Like, fucking the Blues just destroyed these poor Rebel dudes who couldn't tackle at times. And honestly, it looked kind of sad for these Rebels, dude, because they just looked like they'd sort of given up. Like, after a couple tries got in there, like, they just, like, were like, my team does the same bullshit. Like, you get down a couple tries and you just sort of give up, and it's bullshit. But it's hard not to do, I guess, when you're playing such a physical sport like rugby where you're so exhausted, and then you're also getting your ass kicked, and you're like, we're probably not going to win this game. It's like, that doubt just sets in. You can see it in all your teammates. Hard to come back from, dude.
Dude, the thing that I hate the most is, like, whatever, we've lost this game. It's like the fourth quarter, we're down by like 30 points. And then, like, this starting quarterback, who's also our coach, takes himself out and puts in the backup quarterback. So then all the other stars are like, oh, fuck it, I'm not going in there either. So they all take themselves out, and I'm like, no, come on, maintain team morale. So I go in there, and I line up, and I look around me, and I see, like, all backups, and I'm like, oh, man, I should have sat out, too. It's such a demoralizing moment.
I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. I don't know about that. Depending on how tired you are, I would stay out there for sure.
I'm always fucking tired, dude. Like, at that point?
True, actually. Yeah, it's
we're the fourth quarter of a game we've been losing, so I'm probably playing both ways to try to salvage the game.
Running your little heart out, absolutely.
Right.
Well, to wrap this up, wanted to bring up our last non-sponsor sponsors, Corey, and that is the Beer Mirror. These guys make pipes. I don't know what the fuck that is. If you guys could read that. Yeah. I don't know. The Beatamir. I don't know.
Beatamir.
Yeah, Beatamir. I don't know. They're
Beatamir!
They make pipes, dude. They make some sick ass.
Fuck yeah! I love pipes!
I got my most recent bong from them, and let me tell you, splendid little bong. It works really well. They sent me lots of extra screens just because they're good people over there. You know, I think they are crafting glass to make people happy, and that's just really sweet of them. Real touching stuff. People, thank you for tuning in to Sports by Compian. I hope you've been mildly updated about the NHL playoffs. You should probably be watching it. It's good stuff. You also know a little bit now about Super Rugby and how it's out there being played by people. You also know that Corey is still a handsome boy. Thank you for coming here today, Corey. Sports by Compian, we're out.